We're back with day 6, and we have some information to go over with you guys today. So I will start by introducing myself. I am Taiwo Kujichagulia-Seitu. This is my wonderful mother, Sistah Kujichagulia. Kehinde, Salter, my twin sister, will be joining us momentarily. And so we have some things to go over with you guys today. And we are going to go ahead and get started. Wait, can't start the party without Kehinde. Hi, guys. Life of the party. Life of the party. Hi, I'm here. Kehinde.
So thank you so much for joining us again and sharing all of this with us on Facebook, YouTube. We are, you don't have your earrings, go get your earrings.
Oh my God.
I just saw that.
A
black woman without earrings,
That's
no.
not a thing. She got to go get them earrings. Look, that's part of the black girl magic.
That's right. So this is how we are protesting every day. We're protesting by doing this video because we are sharing information, and the best way to transform the world is to change the thought process.
Or as my brother-in-law just said before he walked out the door, okay, you guys, I'm going to let you guys go with your revolutionizing. So this is us revolutionizing.
Hey. All right, we got onks today. All right. So, you know that I focus on the brain, which is the root of what's going on today. We focus on the root, not the symptoms, because if you don't focus on killing the weed at the root, the weeds continue to grow.
Yes.
So I don't focus on the symptoms. I focus on the root. I focus on killing the root because that's going to kill the weeds.
Yes.
So we are killing the roots of racism. And the root of racism is white psychopathy. Remember, we don't say white supremacy. That's a lie.
Define that word again, Mommy.
Psychopathy.
I remember that was one of the comments
Okay.
yesterday. And we might have new people joining us every day. So,
That's true.
for those who haven't been with us
true.
for the past 5 days, the 5 previous days.
And I like to give you, when I was studying psychology in school, I got the definition from psychology. This was 30-some years ago. So I like to be very clear when I read the definition. Psychopathy is an infantile narcissistic personality disorder of extreme egocentricity and arrogance. It is a complete lack of empathy and or remorse for others. It is distinguished by a persistent pattern of disregard for the violation of the social, civil, and human rights of others, especially blacks. It is also distinguished by a failure to learn from the past. So anytime we see these behaviors, be very clear, it's a diseased mind of psychopathy. So, and of course, when you have a disease and you don't know you're crazy, it's hard to correct it. So we want to be sure that people are clear on what this disease is, like coronavirus. Because if you don't know what it is, you can't eliminate it. So the disease we're fighting is white psychopathy. The expression or the symptoms of white psychopathy evolve in racist activity throughout all 10 areas, count them, 10 areas of society. This is not just about police, and it's not about the police. It's about racism and white psychopathy.
Wait, what are the 10 areas, Mommy?
The 10 areas are economics. So there's economic disenfranchisement. There is educational denial, deletion of the truth. Economic denigration. We are denigrated throughout the entertainment industry. Families are destroyed. Family area. In the area of labor, our labor is devalued. Always paid the lowest wages. In the area of law, that's what's going on in the world today. We're looking at the injustice system and how the injustice system treats blacks differently. That's just one tiny, minute area of this. And also after law is politics, how politics is always differentiating between all the other political groups and only focuses on 2 main white political parties, the Republican and Democrats. study FDR, because you know when that split changed.
Yep.
And then religion, how we are dehumanized across the religious world. Our cultural, traditional religions are dehumanized, and we are seen as savages and monsters unless we adopt white Christianity.
And white Christianity, because the African roots of Christianity are hidden
black.
And are what?
Yes.
They're in the
Coptic religion of Ethiopia.
Ethiopian Coptic. No, but I mean where they have all the original images of the Black Madonna and Child are in the
Vatican.
The Vatican has them.
The Pope cannot start his day without bowing down and praying to the Black Madonna and Child.
But that is
have
hidden.
the truth. They will never tell you
They have
that.
the truth.
So they have it. All of the Africans' resources and wealth is in the Vatican. Okay. And last but not least, militarism, self-defense. We know that this country does not protect us. So unless we are looking at solutions that actually address all 10 areas: economics, education, entertainment, family, labor, law, politics, religion, science, war, it is not a solution. It's a distraction.
Yeah.
We have to go all the way deep to the roots. That's why we focus on the language, because the roots of any problem start in our mind. You can't see it. It's subconscious. The problem starts in the mind. That's why we have to make sure we start training the babies from the time they are babies.
Yes.
Putting the truth in them. That's why all this racist curriculum in the miseducation system has got to stop and change. That's why we did a piece on education yesterday, because we're all educators. My mom was an educator, bless her heart, she's gone. But we also know that education is going to cure us.
Yes.
And not miseducation.
Right.
Okay, the truth is going to
truth.
set us free.
Yes, the truth.
So let's start with a little truth. You see the media throwing around a lot of words that it wants us to use. It wants us to listen, accept these words, regurgitate these words, and defend them. Don't accept the Lord. Lord will kill you. Don't be distracted.
Wait, I'm sorry, Mommy. Use that acronym again. LARD, because you can remember it this way.
Lord.
Listen, accept, regurgitate, defend.
So people will tell you this is about racial bias.
No.
No, it's not.
Or equality. A fight for equality.
Thank you.
Oh, God, please stop using that word. No, it is not.
Don't ever use the word equality, because you have just agreed you are inferior.
Yes, please.
Do not let anyone call you inferior. And the minute you say you want to be equal, you have just presupposed that you're inferior.
Yes.
Stop using that word. That's why it is given to us, so that we never focus on the real problem. So you're going to hear words like race. Anybody talking about race is
not talking about racism.
Racism.
Or white psychopathy.
Anybody talking about equality is diverting your strength. Anybody talking about change? Look, we change clothes every day.
Yeah,
it's not about change. Don't be ambiguous. Be very specific with your vocabulary. That's how we are going to cure the children. They want to tell you about implicit bias. That's a real cute one. Implicit bias, which just drives me up the wall. People want to talk about race relations. Are you kidding? Are you kidding me? This is not about race relations. People want to tell you about social justice. This is bigger than all of that.
Yeah.
This is not about inclusion. We are here, and we're still being treated like there's still genocide being perpetrated against us. We're still here. So it's not about inclusion. Please, racial inequality already presupposes inferiority. It's not about white supremacy. Never say those two words together, because you have just validated white is supreme.
Yes.
Think of your words. Don't just listen, accept, regurgitate, and defend. Anyone talking about any of those things is fooling you.
And themselves.
Thank you. They are distracting you and the world from the truth, because there are 4 things we should be talking about. Get your pen, get your pencil, get your mind ready.
And anyone, and I have to say this because I was very irritated when I saw this post on Black Educators Rock. Anyone talking as though the presidential election is going to magically end racism and fix everything, we do not vote for president. If none of us ever...
We vote, but we don't choose the president.
We don't choose the president. If none of us ever voted in a presidential election again, it wouldn't matter. The electorate choose it. But please vote in your local elections. That's where we
and find out who's in the electoral college. We need to be getting rid of the electoral college.
Right.
And then also, if voting for the president would have ended racism, wouldn't it have ended with Barack Obama?
Wouldn't it have ended with
Still
FDR?
very much prevalent.
Come on.
Yeah. Still very much prevalent.
Okay, so the words that every time we speak about those words, we are indirectly blaming the victim. Blaming us for not being good enough to be accepted by whites. Stop blaming the victim. That's another attraction distraction. So these are the 4 things that people should be talking about, because after the ceremonies are over, after the protests are over, after those 4 assassins are caught, killed, and are sentenced, will racism be over?
Nope.
Will white psychopathy be over?
If they're sentenced.
Will genocide end? No. These are the 4 things we're focusing on. This is a crime against humanity. Focus on that. Crime against humanity. What is a crime against humanity? Racism, genocide, white psychopathy. They are all crimes against humanity. Anyone who is not talking about eliminating racism is playing a game with us. Anyone who is not talking about eliminating, what else? Genocide. It's all superficial cosmetic, like false eyelashes, false nails. You take that off and guess what? Racism's still there. This cannot be a superficial moment. This has to be a revolution, fast change. That's what the English language says. Fast change, the word is revolution. Fast change to eliminate racism, genocide, and white psychopathy. Anything that does not focus on eliminating genocide, racism, white psychopathy is a problem. Race is not the problem.
Race has never been
Stop
the problem.
talking about race. Don't let racism hide behind the falsehood of race. Okay? Race is not the problem. DNA is not the problem.
No.
Genetics is not the problem. Beautiful chocolate color, all the way from milk chocolate to chocolate and dark chocolate, is not the color.
It's not the problem.
It's not the problem. Thank you. The problem is racism, genocide, white psychopathy. Okay? Everybody got that?
And don't let this be a fad. I don't care how many street signs change, or how many streets are painted Black Lives Matter, how many politicians and corporations come out and say, hey, black people,
we like you.
You matter. We love you. Don't let them pull the wool over your eyes with their superficial bullshit, because that's what it is. It's a fad. It's popular now. It's popular now for them to say that.
Yes.
And no matter how many times they say that, if it is not if we don't see the actions behind that in society, it's fake. It's false. It's phony. It's like that scene in, what's the movie where he wears the platforms with the goldfish in the bottom?
I'm gonna get you sucker.
I'm gonna get you sucker.
About that with
it's
my
like
husband
that
the other day.
scene where he takes her home and she says, let me go get
Oh my gosh!
And
She pulls off her legs. She
Her
pulls
arm,
off her wig.
Her
She
false
pulls off her false
lashes,
lashes.
the false breast.
fake. Yeah, she pulls off the fake breast. This guy met some girl at a club and she was fake everything, right? She pulls everything off and he's like, this is not what I thought it was. That's what's happening right now. It's looking glossy, and I can't even tell you how many emails I've gotten. Walmart is another one of them now too.
God.
They're all, hey, black people,
Running
you matter.
scared.
Okay, that's great, that's wonderful. But we mattered 3 weeks ago too, and we're gonna matter 3 weeks from now too. What are you gonna change so that this is real? It's not just lip service.
Right. Because if it were real, we'd be talking about genocide, racism, and white psychopathy. And let me be very clear about another way we blame the victim when we think we're really being helpful. We're so confused. It's not clear to us. We're so deep in this forest, we can't even see the trees anymore. So let us guide you out of this forest. Remember when we did the piece, I think it was on show number 4, and we talked about the 10 areas of society.
Yeah.
And I want you to think and go back, and every time I stated, you always lead with the problem. Racism teaches you to lead with the victim and blame the victim. I'm going to give you an example. I said racism disenfranchises blacks. Racism miseducates. This is what the media says. Blacks are miseducated. Blacks are disenfranchised. Blacks are the prison population, as opposed to racism incarcerates blacks at a higher degree than everyone else. Start with the problem.
Yeah.
Start your sentences with the word racism, genocide, white psychopathy. Blacks are dying higher at COVID-19. Racism minimizes the health of blacks so that they die at a disproportional rate. We have even been taught to blame us when we think we're doing ourselves a justice. Can't see the forest for the trees. As Dr. Jeffrey calls it, the paralysis of analysis. Okay? So I like to talk about things that a lot of my elders have taught me because they're still true to this day. Dr. Lodge Daly taught me, bless his heart, that people see what they believe. And I had to think about that. That's right. We see what we believe, and that's why we have to change our belief system. And then we will change what we see.
It's the same reason when you're speaking about the enslavement Holocaust, you don't refer to people as slaves. That minimizes their humanity. Slaves. Oh, and it's on this list. Boom! I jumped to it. I didn't even know. There was never a slave born.
Ever.
And when you refer to people as slaves, that means we don't now attribute them to a homeland, a culture, anything.
Or human. They're not even
human beings. So when you say they're enslaved,
That's
then
right.
you got to go, oh wait, well who's the person enslaving
There's
them?
a perpetrator.
Why were they being enslaved?
Right.
So then it forces you to think critically about the time period and everything that is related to it.
And let me talk, since we're on the word slave, we're going to start with this. We just picked out 10 words for today to discuss. Of course, in my book, I've got hundreds of pages of words, and there are hundreds of words in the book. And we just thought what would be the 10 we could give out right now. Okay, and since we started with slave, I'm going to go there. And I'm going to give an analogy. Please forgive me if it takes a little long for it to get across, but I want us to be clear. Okay. Let's say your daughter, your auntie, your mom, your wife, your lover, all of them were rounded up and shipped off to be trafficked as prostitutes. Did they come get prostitutes? No. They came to get women.
Human beings.
Was your mom a prostitute before she went in there? Nope. Was your daughter? Nope. They had to be trained to be a prostitute. There's a whole learning situation that must go on before you learn how to work as a prostitute. Whether you want to or not, you're being forced to, so you learn. So let's say they have to work in being sex trafficked for a day, a week, a month, a year, a decade, doesn't matter. When it's over, when they're finally rescued, and now we see them here, are they still prostitutes?
Do we continue referring to them as prostitutes?
Well, let's give them a little credit. Ex-prostitutes.
Right.
Let's just call them ex-prostitutes. So what's the point I'm making? We are over enslavement capitalism. We're not over racism, genocide, white psychopathy. Be clear. We're over enslavement capitalism. We are still calling these enslaved human beings slaves. And we have only upgraded them to the word ex-slaves.
As though they're not human beings.
That gives every child the notion that these people don't matter. Because they're just slaves.
All they are.
Our vocabulary is so damaging. That's why it was given to us. We reinforce genocide, white psychopathy, racism every day with our language. Slave, big one. Enslaved man, enslaved woman, enslaved human being, the enslaved people. Africans, stop just saying the word slave. You dehumanize us. That's what we were talking about in the area of science and religion. We are dehumanized as people. Why wouldn't the police shoot us if we think we're nothing but slaves? We see what we believe. So let's go to the other word. Of course, if you're not a slave, there's no such thing as a master. Stop calling the people who enslaved us masters. Because what did we just do? We just said, yes, you are superior. Enslaver. Be clear and be honest. When you read all these texts to your children and they have to read these books, you supplant the correct terminology. Slave, don't say that. It's an enslaved human being. Don't say master. It's an enslaver. Now it talks about the reality of white psychopathy, genocide, and racism.
Or plantation owner, or whatever, but not the master.
The master. Also, we already went over this in the first day. Stop using the word dark and black negatively. Anytime you want to describe something negatively, increase your vocabulary, increase your adjectives and adverbs, but stop using the words dark and black to describe things unwanted, undesirable, or negative. And stop using the words white and bright to associate innocence and intelligence. All you educators and mommies and teachers, stop calling intelligent students bright, because you just said white is superior.
And all the little dark chocolate little
think
babies
they're ignorant.
think they're ignorant because their skin is not
dark.
It's brown.
So listen to what you say, analyze it. If it's not the truth, stop saying it. So don't use dark, black negatively. Stop using white, bright positively. Don't call enslaved people slaves. Identify the fact that something was done to them, enslaved. Stop what's the word I want? Stop exonerating the victimizer. Stop calling the victimizers masters and call them enslavers. Next word. Let me just stay here for just 1 second. Okay. I was in a class where the class had to learn about, they were pretending to learn about Haiti. I'm very clear. 1-page handout. And I was the academic writing instructor. I would help the students write their papers. So when they came to me and asked me to help them write their papers, I said, okay, well, what were you studying in class? They said, we were studying about slavery. I said, oh, what were you studying? Let me see what you had. It was a paper on Haiti. I wanted to cry. Because when I looked at the paper, I read it. One sheet, just one piece of paper on the front. That's all. On the Haitian Revolution. The word slave was in there 26 times. 26 times. Whatever you repeat, you perfect. 26 times those students got to think of black people as nothing but slaves. And the word master was in there 8 times. I counted it. Never was the word human being in there. Never was the word African in there. Never was the word oppressed. Never. None of those words were in there. But what's worse, what makes this a bigger crime, is that the little tiny island nation of Haiti was full of enslaved Africans. And in 1804, there was a revolution. These enslaved human beings took on the 3 mightiest nations on earth. Mighty in terms of firepower,
right?
Not compassion, intelligence, in terms of firepower. The French army under Napoleon, the Spanish Armada, and the United States military all came down on Haiti with everything they had. And those enslaved brothers and sisters fought and kicked all their butts. Haiti, first enslaved island nation that fought for freedom and liberated itself. What did they have? They had truth on their side. They had unity on their side. They had the ancestors on their side. And they kicked the butts of the United States, France, and of Spain. Kicked their butts. So we can't ever think about we're outnumbered. You're never outnumbered until you think you are.
Yeah. Right.
We are using our brain power, our spirit, our unity to get over it. Haiti is honored everywhere on the planet except by European countries.
Yep.
And what did the European countries do? How dare you force me to stop enslaving you?
Right.
They charged the enslaved Africans, and to this day, they are forcing Haiti to pay reparations, that word America hates, forcing Haiti to pay reparations to the French because they could no longer be enriched off the enslavement of blacks in Haiti. Haiti, we love you. Thank you for that.
But just think about how crazy that is right now.
What is that called?
Psychopathy.
Think about psychopathy. How psychotic is that?
If somebody comes to your house and steals all your girl children and forces them into sex trafficking, and then they liberate themselves and come back home, and then the sex traffickers contact you and say it's your fault we're missing out on this money right now.
Pay us.
You need to pay us back.
That's
how insane
Do you pay them back for enslaving your daughter? No. But why do we do that to Haiti? Racism, genocide, white psychopathy.
Right.
See, once you know the truth, everything makes sense.
Right.
We have all the answers in front of us. We ask all the wrong questions. I'm running out of my voice. Let me get through a little bit of these words. Let's go through immigration problem. That's another phrase that is full of loaded insanity. there is no immigration problem in America. The people who are telling you that are the descendants of what? Immigrants. Some of them are immigrants telling you there is a immigrant problem.
And wait, and the descendants of murderers and thieves.
Let's go there.
So let's be clear.
Yeah, because when I think of an immigrant, I think of somebody that moves to another country for
On
whatever
their own.
reason, on their own, but peacefully, just to make a life for themselves, not someone who comes and rapes the land, rapes the people, steals all the resources. That's not an immigrant to me. That's something else.
We'll talk about that tomorrow when we close up, but they're getting ahead of me because they're on it. What can I say? So let's think about it. If this is a quote-unquote Caucasian country, and I'm Caucasian from another country and I want to go hide, am I going to Zimbabwe? If I want to hide out as an illegal immigrant, am I going to go to Nigeria? Come on. If I'm Caucasian and I'm an illegal immigrant, where am I going to go? America. Do you see ICE in Caucasian neighborhoods looking for illegal Caucasian immigrants? Nope. Nobody's upset about illegal Caucasian immigrants. That's why it's not an immigration problem. Stop saying that. It's a racism problem.
Yes.
Next, education system. Stop it. There's no education going on. There's miseducation. You heard Governor Gavin Newsom said that we scored 10% percentile in math. Bottom 10%.
Bottom 10.
But, and this is the deep part.
As a state.
As a state. And all those people were taught by who? Credentialed teachers.
Yeah.
How many functional illiterates do you know? Quite a few.
Taught by credentialed teachers.
See, credential is not the litmus test that makes sure that you're enabled to be a great educator. It is an obstacle to keep people from moving into higher education and higher economic status, on and on and on. So
and
be clear, we have a miseducation system.
Yeah, and it's a system. So let me be clear. We're not saying that credentialed teachers are
incompetent or inadequate.
No. However, we do have a system where the teachers who say these kids are not ready to be passed on. We do have a system that passes children on whether they're ready to or not. And just like she said, if you know what's happening, and usually things are tied to money. Right?
No.
Things are tied to capitalism. And I've seen it for myself. A lot of administrators will pass students on because average daily attendance is tied to how much money schools get. So however many kids are attending daily, that determines how much money the school brings in. So there are administrators who are operating in fear, feeling like if they hold a kid back, parents will snatch their children out of that school and send them somewhere else. So instead of doing what's best for the student, they hold these kids, they pass them on for grades and grades and grades and grades, knowing good and well they are not prepared to pass on.
Not at all.
And then, the first semester of their senior year, they go, you don't have enough credits to graduate.
Wow.
And they send them to continuation school after they have collected money for them for 12 years, 11 and a half years, because the last half of their senior year, they go, you're not ready to graduate. They're doing what's in their best interest for their pockets and not for the students. So I don't want to say that, I don't want to come off as saying that the teachers themselves are incapable. However, it's a system. It's a system of racism. Yes.
That is the name of the system. Racism.
Right.
Name it. Stop saying systemic racism.
It's a system already.
It's systemic white psychopathy. It's a system of white psychopathy. That system of white psychopathy is in all 10 areas, and that is racism. Okay. Stop talking about the justice system. We know there's no justice. Please, let's just pretend. Let's just stop it. Let's just stop the facade, okay? There's no justice. Isn't that what everybody's out there? For justice. We're sick of racism, genocide, and white psychopathy. It is a injustice system. You don't want to say that, fine. Legal system, because racism is legal. It's a court system, and that's where the illegalities are acted out. Legal system, court system, injustice system.
And I remember when we were growing up, my mom telling us, she said, don't say the justice system. I will never forget this conversation. She said, simply because something is legal does not make it just.
And that's the distinction we need to make here. We need to be honest. And the way that children learn and the way that people learn is through our wording. So if we keep calling it a justice system, then people look up and go, but how could this happen? Because it's not just.
Right.
It has nothing to do with justice. It has everything to do with what's legal. And what is legal is based on how many times people have money to go sit up in court.
Racism.
And change something.
Capitalism.
Capitalism and racism.
White psychopathy. Change your words. Change the world. Let's go to Indian. We did this yesterday.
Oh, we skipped.
Oh, another
Can't skip
major one, of course. Remember, this is about divide and conquer. Every person who has been assassinated in this country matters.
Yeah.
No matter what color, what gender, whatever.
Yeah.
Everybody matters, okay? These are not isolated incidents.
Nope.
They are tantamount and they all come up to genocide, collective genocide. They've taught us to say justifiable homicide. That's one person. Homicide involves one person. Genocide involves a group of people. That's what's going on. It is not justifiable. Stop using those words. Every time you use those words, you justify genocide.
Yeah.
So we have to stop using the words justifiable homicide and be clear about what happened. It is unjustifiable. It's genocide. It cannot be justified. Stop using the language. Because if children hear all these words, they know that they have a responsibility to fix things.
Yeah.
If we tell them we live in a democracy and there is justice, why would they ever try to fix it?
They feel like everything's okay.
Gotta give props to the youth who are out there who know things are wrong.
Yes.
Gotta give props to the people who have never, ever looked at this before. And I saw one great sign today on the news, and it said, racism is not getting worse. It's getting filmed.
Huh. Facts.
Racism not getting. It's always been bad for us. Every time people say, I want things to get back to normal, please don't let things go back to normal. We don't want it to go back to normal. We don't want it to go back to a normal, ignoring genocide, ignoring racism, ignoring white psychopathy. May we please never go back to normal again. Justifiable homicide, never say those two words again. Unjustifiable genocide.
And can I say this about teaching our children? Our children are very intelligent. They're extremely capable of understanding what you tell them when you explain things to them correctly. And parents out there, you know, it seems like every generation is born smarter and smarter.
Yes, absolutely.
It is insane. And you know, raising these children, this generation is very different because they're highly opinionated and they feel like everybody needs to hear what they have to say. And as a parent, sometimes you just want to punch them in the face. Like, I don't care what you think right now.
Nobody asked for your opinion.
You were told to do this. However, in terms of this situation, this is the generation that we are raising to fix it.
That's right.
This generation.
That's right.
Because they are very outspoken, they're very intelligent, they're very opinionated. They can look at something and say, okay, but right here, 1 + 1 is not equaling 2. So we need to fix this. And so we need to raise them with the knowledge that, yes, they're capable and yes, they can handle this. And yes, we are turning this over to you. And tell them the truth because they can grasp it. They're not incapable of understanding what's really going on around them.
And they can call something BS. They can see through it.
They see the truth.
They see through it. They see the truth. So let's stop treating them as
like
though
babies.
They don't understand.
Yes,
like,
they understand.
They're not retarded
At all. And I always like to go
know.
back to the Dalai Lama, who at age 5 is appointed to start running the country. That means you start training them early. Stop. You can't just love children. You must raise them. And I want to talk about a point that I noticed on the line. People keep saying things like, I noticed online, people keep saying things like, why now? Why does it happen now?
Jesus.
Sister Kehinde?
Yes, why not? Well, hey, I've been saying since COVID-19 started that if y'all don't see this as a move of God, I don't know what is. I mean,
And for all the people who are atheists and Buddhists and everything, the reality is
There's
still
a huge shift.
there's a huge shift
happening.
and it's not just happening in America.
Nope.
It is going on all around the world. So check this out.
But what also is going on around the world? COVID-19.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
So
check
where
this
are
out.
people?
COVID-19 has effectively shut down the entire world. And because of
Except
COVID-19,
Brazil.
yeah,
Yeah.
my God.
And because of
They hate us
COVID-19, what are people doing? They're not working.
They're not
They're
working.
not going to school.
They're angry.
not out, and they're
angry.
People don't have money
Poor.
right now. Everybody's feeling it. Everybody's affected right now. And because people are not working every day and not going to school every day,
focused.
not out, the smart people are not out partying every day. And because of that, when something like George Floyd being murdered
During
in the
this
news
time?
and broad daylight for the entire world to see,
Filmed.
now everybody is focusing on that because they're not focusing on other things. And it's not by accident. I don't believe in coincidence. I don't believe in accidents. It's not by accidents for such a time as this that it happened right now. This didn't happen right before COVID-19.
Right.
This didn't happen in the beginning when it was only Italy and China that was shut down.
Right.
This happened after it went all around the world and everybody was feeling the effects and everybody was already irritated and angry and everybody was like, this is bullshit. We need to take to the streets. That's why it's happening right now. He's not the first black man to be murdered on film. He's not the first black man to be murdered on film by the police. He's not the first. And I pray to God that he will be the last. I pray that we seize this opportunity and don't let it just be another moment in history. But it did happen right now, and it was a spark. It was a straw that broke the camel's back, proverbially. It was a spark that set everything on fire. Let's not just let everything go up in flames and not have no renewed growth come out of this.
Like a volcano. And I'm going to use the word my daughter used. She didn't say it just now when she was explaining it to me. Because, every teacher is a student. Every student is a teacher. No one knows everything. And I find out the more I know, the less I know.
Yeah.
Very clear. She used the word, this is the perfect storm.
Yeah.
It was a perfect storm of events that got us here today. That's where we are. And not only that, after it happened, people couldn't say, oh, well, got to go to work.
Right.
Oh, well, got to go back to my job.
Distraction.
Oh, well, got to get to school. You have to now let that simmer, and then you realize, this is wrong. Yes.
I might be a part of the problem.
All right, let's look at the word Indian. If you're not born in India,
You're not Indian.
or if you do not have the citizenship of India, you're not Indian. This is a country that is now called America, but the Western Hemisphere has been here for over 4 billion years. 4 billion years. The word America has only been with us for 500, for less than that. 1776. We're going to celebrate it tomorrow.
Next month.
Named after. Saying that.
Yeah, you keep saying that.
Named after Amerigo Vespucci. Okay? Amerigo Vespucci was not born 4 billion years ago, 4 million years ago, 400,000 years ago, 40,000 years ago. The people who were here were not Native Americans. They were indigenous to the Western Hemisphere. Okay?
They were not Native Americans.
I call them IPOWA. Let me explain that acronym because I know this is the world of acronyms. IPOWA. IPOWH. Indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere. Power! IPOWA. You gotta be silly. You gotta laugh to keep from crying, you guys. You gotta keep it moving. Okay, so if you're not born in India, if you don't have Indian citizenship, you're not an Indian. I do not let my children write, when I was teaching, I said, why are you writing about India? We're talking about the United States. And we would always, this is high school. Okay, so not Native Americans, no Indians, indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere. Acknowledge their reality.
Yeah.
We do them a major disservice pretending they never existed. What is that? That's white superiority, white psychopathy.
And genocide.
That implies whites are superior and these people aren't even real, never existed, and the culture is Western culture white. It is all that. So we have to be clear we don't say Western culture because we know this is European culture in the Western Hemisphere. Okay, and of course we know there's no such thing as democracy. Please stop with that tired lie. There's no American democracy.
Not just a lie, that's a tired lie. That lie is tired.
Lord have mercy, it's tired.
This country was born out of racist violence. It got wealthy off racist violence. It thrives off racist violence. And the only way to continue this racist violence is to continue to perpetuate racism. Capitalism needs that. They need to divide and conquer us. This is what we're talking about tomorrow.
Yeah.
How this all started, how we can end it. There's no democracy. Please stop saying that. I always talk about American hypocrisy. It is the epitome of hypocrisy. Where all that hypocrisy came from is another story. That's why we need to be educated correctly. Stop saying American democracy. It's American hypocrisy. Don't say Indian unless you're talking about people from India. It's not justified what is happening to us. It is unjustifiable homicide. There's no education system. It's a miseducation system. We don't have a justice system. We have an injustice system. We don't have an immigrant problem. We have a racism problem. There are no masters. That supposes superiority. I refuse to say I'm inferior. Never. I will not say that. Enslaver. No slaves were ever stolen from Africa.
Or born.
No slaves were ever brought to the Western Hemisphere. No slaves ever lived here. They were enslaved human beings. Let's humanize them. Stop dehumanizing people because of their condition. Condition and culture are two different things. These were real, breathing human beings that were treated
horribly, to say the least.
Wickedly evil. So don't use white and bright in a positive way. Don't use dark and black in a negative way. We've got to kill the root. If you kill that root, you don't have to worry about any of this.
Yeah.
There'd be no racial bias if there were no racism.
Right.
There'd be no police brutality if there were no racism. There'd be no racial unrest. There'd be nothing if we eliminate the source of the problem, the disease of white psychopathy. And it's a disease. And be clear, not white people. That's not the problem. Not Caucasians, people who evolved from the Caucasus mountain range. Caucasians, that's not the problem. Black folks aren't the problem. Protest is not the problem. Don't let the distraction confuse you. We're not denigrating or complaining about Caucasians. No, our allies are Caucasian.
Yeah.
We're not complaining about the police. There's some great police out there. Some people are married to police, have their husbands are police. We're talking about the problem, the root. 3 things: racism, genocide, white psychopathy.
And for everybody that thinks that starting a task force or a committee to get rid of the police is an answer, guess what?
Wow.
Let's just pretend, and this never happens, but let's just pretend that every single racist police officer that has complaints against him and that has violated somebody's human rights in some type of way was taken, sentenced, and thrown under the jail. Let's pretend that happens to every single one. Let's just pretend this system is still raising more future racist police officers and racist politicians and racist teachers and racist legislatures So that's not the problem is the system. That's not a solution. All you avid task forcers out there, let's have a task force to focus on the solution, which is ending racism
and genocide and
white psychopathy.
Because the first time somebody beats down your car, breaks into your house, who you gonna call? Not Ghostbusters.
Hello.
Come on now.
Hello. Yeah,
all right.
Who are you gonna call?
But police are not the problem. Your job is not the problem. Yeah. Your career is not the problem.
It's your thinking.
How you think is the problem. If we can eliminate people growing into the thoughts of white psychopathy, if we can eliminate that from the beginning, you have nothing down the road. It's the domino effect.
Right.
You get rid of the root, you kill the weed. Get rid of the root, you kill the tree. Get rid of the root, you kill the symptoms. And I'm just going to give one last analogy because I'm sure we're probably over right now.
And Kehinde's looking at comments and questions so we can answer questions.
So this is the last analogy, all right? Let's say that we're all in a flood. Your car is flooded. Your house is flooded. Your clothes are flooded. And we're just trying to figure out how to backstroke and save ourselves from the flood. So this is what's going on in America. They want to teach us how to build better boats. They want to teach us how to row stronger. They want to teach us how to have waterproof clothes.
Yeah.
They want to teach us how to swim. But what if we just go to the dike and we plug up the hole? What if we plug up the hole? Won't we get rid of the flood? Won't the flood eventually dry out and now we can deal with everything? See, we got to plug up white psychopathy. You plug up white psychopathy, we're no longer flooded with genocide and racism. Go to the root. Anybody who's not talking about the root,
it's wasting your time.
Wasting your time.
Wasting your time.
Fooling you, lying to you. But the worst thing they're doing, they are reinforcing and protecting racism, genocide, and white psychopathy. Very emphatic here because this is what we do.
Afia says, yes, Kehinde is the life of the party. Lido says, what an entrance.
Hey, that's my
Okay. Miss Freeberg says, how would you explain the Electoral College to a teenager or a young person or someone who thinks that we elect the president?
Okay, so the first thing we want to do is go to the dictionary, whatever, define electoral college. And they're going to tell you it's a group of people that make the decisions. Every child knows what those words are. Like mommy and daddy, like the parents, like the guardian. These people make the decisions. So the electoral college is a group over there in the greenhouse making decisions. No, in the White House making the decisions.
Yes.
But then they're telling you, don't look at us. Look at us. Look at these two people. And you vote for them. You go out and spend all your money. We're going to spend millions. We're going to contribute billions and trillions to these accounts. That'll never come to you people. And we will elect these people. And you hide the Electoral College in the White House, in the closet. Tell them that the people who are making the decisions, we don't even know who they are.
Don't even know them.
Their names right now are Electoral College. We need to know who they are. And I'm not even saying we should vote for them. I'm saying it needs to be eliminated. See, if we were a democracy, we'd really be a country buying up the people.
One person, one vote.
We aren't.
Yeah.
We're a republic. A racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, ageist, Islamophobic republic. Okay? So, don't be afraid to tell your children the truth. Children are geniuses.
They are.
We need to stop dumbing down stop thinking that they're dumb and ignorant.
That they won't understand.
They're little geniuses.
And this is what I tell children. I say it is a secret collection of people who determine who the president of the United States is going to be. Because the minute you say secret, they go, well, why is it in secret? Well, why don't we elect the president? And then you can say, well, the people who founded this country never trusted that American citizens could, in fact, choose their own president. So then you are forced to actually tell them the history behind it.
That's
but
right.
I will be very clear with people. It is a secret group of people that we don't even know, don't even have access to, that elects the president of the United States.
Super rich corporation owners.
Right.
And so forth and so on. It's not us. We the people do not do that.
Talking about super rich corporation owners, Donald Trump might be one of them. We would never know. I'm just saying.
Of course he is. Of course, conflict of interest. Of course he is.
How else do you explain that? I'm just saying. Whatever.
So I start looking at children as little intelligent young adults.
Yeah.
Look at them as intelligent little young adults, and things will start changing. And instead of ignoring your child while they're on the little game and you're on a little game over there and they're on a little game, sit down and talk. You know that this is the first time in this country in a long time people actually sit down together and talk?
Yeah.
Something's wrong with that. Why aren't they want us talking to each other?
Right.
Why do they want us on the machines? Because the machines are there to program us,
right,
to reinforce and protect racism, genocide, and white psychopathy.
There's a follow-up question about the Electoral College. Lionel says, I agree that the Electoral College needs rethinking. What suggestions do you have for its modification or replacement?
I'm going to say what I've been saying. And Taiwo, you might have more, but I'm going to say this again. I don't think about the Electoral College at all. I don't think about the leaves on the tree. I'm busy digging up the root to kill the entire tree. I'm digging up the root to kill the entire tree. I focus on three things. The root, white psychopathy, genocide, racism. Because if I kill that, guess what? Everything's good. So I don't focus on the Electoral College. I don't have any suggestions. I don't think there should be one.
I don't think there should be one either.
And let's be clear. The Constitution was written by a group of wealthy white men to protect
their interests.
Wealthy
right,
white men. Not women, Women are considered, to this day, Constitution still considers women chattel. Possession.
Just like black people were considered chattel.
To this day, the Constitution says black people are not human.
Right.
We're only 3/5
of a human being.
We're not really human, just 3/5 human. The Constitution was only put in place to make sure wealthy white men remained wealthy white men. So, let's look at it. How do we know that for a fact? What rights did the Constitution put in place for the people? Other white people? None.
Not even other white people.
Nah, they didn't care about poor white people. They didn't care about white people who weren't landowners. They only cared about wealthy white men. That's why they love that document, put it in every time capsule, ship it around the universe.
Are we moving on?
I forgot what I was saying.
No.
So, we know that there was a Bill of Rights. If America was such a democratic place, why did there have to be a Bill of Rights?
We need one, right?
If the people were so wonderfully protected, why did the people have to come along and say, you know what, this is BS. We need some protections for us. And that the first 10 protections the people brought about is now called the Bill of Rights. They're amendments, meaning something you add on. Those are the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. You know how many amendments there are to the Constitution? Endless amounts. Because it had nothing to do with democracy. It had nothing to do with justice. It had nothing to do with humanity. It was only created so that wealthy white men could remain wealthy white men and to get British, the colonizer England, off their necks.
Yeah, and if we're going to pretend that this is a democracy, the Electoral College would be eliminated. It's just that simple. It would be gotten rid of and people would actually vote. Let's remember, white women, they didn't even care about their women. White women didn't even have any rights back then.
White women didn't even have any rights. Psychotic!
Yeah, psychopathy.
All right.
Okay, Tiffany Couch says, the truth is being spoken, but can we talk about you and your twins' earrings? I need both pair.
She loves the big earrings. She loves the big earrings.
You like
opposite
these?
couch.
Let me just say, hey guys, if you're into the big black girl magic earrings like I am, because I only rock big ass earrings, your local beauty supply store in a black neighborhood, yes, they have.
Hopefully a black beauty
the
supply
flea
store.
market, the Ashby flea market, all those sellers that make these, they make the earrings. Oh hell yes. Excuse me. Oh heavens yes.
And let me do one more thing. Come here, my sister. Because I see a lot of rappers and children with this symbol have no idea what it is.
Oh yeah.
This is an ankh, a sacred African system that Africans created, because Africans, we look at all that stuff. And if you look at it real closely, come here quickly.
I'll hold
okay.
up. Okay.
If you look at it closely, the ankh has 2 parts. The top part has the hole.
Yep.
That's the womb of the woman. That's where the baby comes through the hole. The bottom part represents the male. When the male impregnates the woman, the baby comes through. You create life. That's why it's called the key of life.
Yeah.
Now let's look at racism. Racism gets rid of the woman. It takes the woman's womb, closes that sucker up. So it's only a cross. And it's just all men now. Father, Son, Holy Ghost. No women allowed. That's the ankh, the cross, the symbol of death. Cross is the symbol of death. That's what Jesus was crucified on the cross.
That's what the Romans crucified everybody on.
Yeah.
If you turn the cross upside down, it is a sword. That is the symbol all colonizers took into all first world people who were on the planet first. First world nations, and slaughtered them and enslaved them. So we rock the ankh, because the ankh is the symbol of life, the key of life. Ma'at, the goddess Ma'at, rocked the ankh. The Lady Justice that has been whitewashed and put in the illegal court system has the sword of death. So yeah, the earrings are rocking. I love them. I love them.
Miss Freeberg says, I had an African American student tell me they were stupid because they had an IEP and he was always told he was dumb. I had to reassure him daily that he was a genius and smart. It broke my heart when he told me that people told him he was stupid.
Oh, see, we should have gotten into this yesterday for the educational system.
Thank you for sticking in there and changing that.
Yeah, I have to, so Miss Freeberg was my instructional aide in my classroom for 3 of the 4 years that I've been at Fremont. last year was the first year that she was in other classrooms. But an IEP, for everybody that does not know, is an individualized education plan. And what it is for those students who are taken under special education, right? And they are given an IEP or a 504 plan. Now, in these classes, these are usually much smaller classes, and because the thinking is that they are incapable of really learning at the pace of their peers, everybody has this individualized plan, and every teacher is supposed to follow this individual plan for their individual students amongst a whole class of other students. Now, here's the thing. Because I'm a performing arts teacher, I always have a great number of IEP students mixed in with my mainstream regular pace learning students, I guess, mixed in with English language learners.
Yeah,
and I'm supposed to follow everybody's individual education plan. I don't. Actually, because I don't handicap them into thinking that they are unable and incapable of learning at the rate of their peers. Let me tell you, many of my IEP students have been the most brilliant. They've been the most brilliant students. A lot of the IEP students read at a higher level. They comprehend at a higher level than my other students. They are amazingly talented.
They're more engaged than the other students.
The majority of IEP students, are they white?
No. No, they are not. No, they are not. But then when
I see
them,
accident,
and because I force them to learn at the rate that I am teaching them, because I get that you have an IEP, because I've had some of them try to play me.
Yeah,
they will try to play me.
Learned how
but
to play
I have
system.
an IEP plan, and I can't. I go, you can and you will.
That's right, and you will.
And I expect them to, and I set the bar higher. Now, when it comes to, me knowing what's in their plan, I do read it, and so I may give them more time for testing and do those things, and I have to explain it differently, but are they able to do the work?
Yes, absolutely.
But
yes, they can.
because in their other classes, right, in their other classes, they have been groomed to accept that I can't learn, and I just can't do what other people do, and so they think that they're incapable, and that is why you had an IEP student, Ms. Freeberg, tell you that he thought that he was dumb and he thought that he couldn't do it because that's what people have told him, and that's another problem with the miseducation system. That's a problem.
Now, let me go to, because this is taking me back to my childhood. Before all these labels and autism, all this was happening, when I grew up, those labels didn't exist. Everybody's expected to learn. I was labeled as mentally retarded because I did not pass the certified standardized test. So when I was in the 4th grade, I was given the standardized test started coming out. And these were the questions. I still remember them to this day. How many forks in a place setting? What did I put? One. Okay, but if you're super rich and wealthy, there's more than one fork setting. None of us were super rich and wealthy. We didn't know any of that. They asked me about the name of the back of a yacht. Are you kidding? I didn't even know what a yacht was in the 3rd grade. I'm in a black neighborhood, Hunters Point. They're asking me, what does a golf tee do? And then you had to match a word, coffee, tea. So, but it came out that I was mentally retarded because I could not pass this test correctly. That's what the whole problem was with standardized tests. Now I'm going to skip ahead to college. When I'd be the only little chocolate face in college, and I would have the professor outright tell me, you're a nigger, you can't be that. You're a nigger, you probably aren't going to pass this class. I was cum laude, baby. I would always go home and say, that's a lie. I would get in the mirror. That's a lie. I'm not mentally retarded. I'm not stupid. They're stupid. No, that's not true. I would get in the mirror and convince and my mother didn't play any mess. No. My mother did not take. She said, you are smart and you're going to fix this and we're going up to the school to fix this. My mother was an educator. She didn't play.
She did not play.
I have, and let me go for what Kehinde said. I had a student, I miss him so much. I'm not even going to say his name because I miss all my students. But he was one of my favorites. I'm not going to lie. He was one of my favorites. And everybody told me that he was mentally retarded. I do what I do with my lesson plan, and I create all these games to engage the children he was my A student in that class. Once he got through playing all the games, I noticed that he knew more than the other children knew. He was outranking them in his grades because I refuse to believe the lie that you're not capable and competent. No. I am not going to let you tell me what to believe about this child, because then I'll start seeing the child like that. No. I will listen and see what's going on. I listen, analyze for myself, test things out for myself, then I evaluate. No need for me just listening, except regurgitate, defend. No, Lord will kill you. Better late than ever, you all. Listen, analyze, test, evaluate. If those 4 things do not show you and reveal the truth to you, then that's a whole issue of fallacies that we need to look at. Fallacious thought processes, which we have all learned thanks to white psychopathy. So again, whatever these issues are, we're just looking at little tiny leaves that are on this whole tree of racism. There are many examples and symptoms that we can talk about. I like to focus on the root. If I kill that root, I've killed racism. I didn't say kill any people. Don't anybody take my words and twist them.
Please don't.
I want to kill the concept of white psychopathy. Because when we kill that, we kill genocide, racism, and all these symptoms. Okay.
Okay, any other questions?
Lionel said, right, just because something is legal, it does not make it just.
That's that right.
Our enslavement was legal at one time, still is actually.
Right.
Burning women at the stake was legal.
Hello.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Putting little 7-year-olds in factories to work was legal.
Yep.
Legal does not mean humane
Or just.
But see, they've given us those words. Listen, except we're going to say, you change the word, you change the world.
Sherilyn Lawrence says, as educators, if we don't set the bar high and create that expectation, we're not doing our job. My daughter got an IEP last year, 4th grade, and she's now catching up to her peers.
Yes.
It's been a good thing for her. They met her where she was and helped to bring her up. My job is to just keep her on a daily practice so she doesn't lose anything.
That's right.
Now, here's the thing.
Smart.
My child was given a diagnosis of bipolar disorder and ADHD last summer. And me, I always take
she is a genius.
She's a genius.
Very intelligent.
Brilliant.
And me, I always take a diagnosis and I say, yep, thank you for that. And then you do what you do with it. Like, I don't take a diagnosis and think it's some type of death sentence or whatever. But I got the diagnosis, and it was just like, what am I going to do with this? And everybody goes, you got to get her an IEP. She has to have a 504 plan. And I did not do that. What I did was I got the letter that said it from Kaiser, and I gave it to her school so that when she spazzes out at school, which happens sometimes, that they understand. It's another show. That they understand what it is, and that she does not continue to get into trouble, right, with the whole bipolar ADHD. But I did not do the IEP or 504 plan because I didn't want her to be labeled and for them to put her now in those classes, because academically she performs at a much higher rate.
College level.
Yeah.
She's in Laney. She took classes at Laney.
And she's graduating a year early.
Students didn't even know she was not a Laney student, a college student.
They didn't know. So I didn't want them to put her in those classes and hold her back academically because of that piece of paper. So as parents and educators, we do have to make the decision that's best for our child, but we need to advocate for our children too, because sometimes once your child gets labeled special education, they will never take them out, and you have to fight like hell for your child to take that label off. So we have to know how these systems work so that we can make the best choice for our children. And so we don't have any more children feeling like they can't do anything or they're stupid or unintelligent because they have this label on them now.
And even though they consider me mentally retarded because I didn't know how rich people live at age 3, at 16 I was in college. That's where I was at age 16. Now, be clear, everybody, that's our grandson. That's my grandson.
Running around in the background. If you can hear it.
If you hear that foot. Every family is your IEP. Your individual education plan is your family.
That's right. Yep.
You must, I don't care how many jobs you have. No one had more jobs than me.
Facts.
And I work at the flower shop.
Facts.
No.
Like a Jamaican.
Like a doctor. Me a test. Me a murmur.
Like the Jamaicans how to live in color.
I had 7 jobs, but you know what my main job was? Parenting. So no matter how tired I was, let's get out the homework. It's no way you should wait till your child gets a report card and then you find out what's going on. That means you're not doing your job, parent. And I don't want to put all this on because we tried to talk about the miseducation system yesterday, but the IEP question comes up. You are your child's IEP. You are their individual education plan. You are the one who knows what they do and don't know, and you make those corrections.
Yes.
And when you know what people do and don't know, you start at that point and you deal with it. When I was teaching in prisons, they always wanted to give me the list of gangs of who are in gangs. I said, I don't want to see that list. I want to see it. I want to judge them based on who they are, not what you think they are, because you're trying to program me to see them the way you do,
and then to mistreat them according to that program.
Accordingly, I'm not doing that. We all have that power. Do it. Take control of your life, your words and you take control of your life with your words. So please talk with your children as intelligent human beings. You are an intelligent human being. Whatever America says, you don't have to just listen, accept, regurgitate, and defend it. Think it out.
We got another acronym here, but I'm just going to read these comments real quick. Okay. True Grad says, so many broken patterns in the schools. I worked as a special ed teacher for several years and witnessed a lot of challenges between teachers and the system. Yeah. And then Rachel says, Trina says, that was me. I had 7 jobs, so many W-2s, LOL.
Yeah. And racism says we're lazy bums.
Right. Rachel says, Kehinde, I wish all the teachers taught IEP students as well as you. I've seen teachers treat students like they can't do things or are incapable of doing things. Also, I've seen teachers act like IEP students aren't supposed to have accommodations. Yeah, that's a problem too. Trina said, I remember my mama told me that one of her professors told her the only job she would be able to get is pushing carts at a grocery store. Wow. My mama have over 13 degrees and certifications, and she is a special needs teacher. Wow. Her transcript is as many pages as the twins' age. She says, I come from a family of educators, and I am too.
That's right.
And then True Grad has another acronym, LATE, L-A-T-E.
Okay.
It says listen, analyze, test, and evaluate.
Oh, no, I said that. Listen, analyze, test, and evaluate.
Oh, so he put it in the comments.
Thank you. So, don't know my Lord. Listen, accept, regurgitate, defend.
And
better
then...
late than never. Yes. Thank you, True Grad.
Sherilyn says her daughter was diagnosed with ADHD and anxiety in the 1st grade at another school. They avoided the IEP because they didn't want her to get that label. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she switched to a new school and has really grown. And it depends on which persons are putting the IEP together. And you got to trust your gut. If it don't feel right, and you can't trust these adults to make decisions for your child, don't go with it, because you are the expert when it comes to your child.
At one of the schools where I was teaching, they saw how effective I was at teaching, so they gathered up all the students who were behind and they gave them to me, and those students were now outperforming all the other students because I created curriculum and games for them to play to get them to rise above the levels of expectations that others held for them. High expectations. I don't ever want to hear a child say, I can't.
Yeah.
My mama. I would get spanked if I said I can't.
That is a bad word in my classroom.
Stop saying I can't. Don't ever let a child say I can't.
I don't allow students to use that word ever. I tell them, you can say you're having trouble. You can say, I need some
help.
assistance.
Yeah.
I need some help. You can say, I'm struggling a little bit right here, but you absolutely can never say can't, because it trains your brain to stop attempting
to try.
Yeah,
it all starts here. I would even tell my students, my genius is having a little trouble. Yeah, your genius might be having a little trouble, but you're still a genius. Okay, I didn't want us to get all caught up into the world of education.
Before we wrap up, I just have to give my mommy such props because this is what I tell people. I tell my students, I've told my husband, I tell people all the time. My mom, she is still currently an awesome mom, but when we were growing up, she was such an awesome mom.
Yeah.
Like, she did all the stuff that made everything engaging to be a little person.
Yeah.
So like when we were little, you know how little kids live in their imaginations. And she totally allowed us to do that.
90% of the
we would
time.
walk to the corner store with our baby dolls,
baby
strollers. When she would allow us to walk to the store with her.
And you better feed that baby.
Yes.
And you better hold that baby
Yes.
right. And you better hug that baby.
Yes, with our baby dolls and their strollers, with those little Barbie fake plastic shoes, the little heels, with the heels and our sunglasses and our purses, and we'd be walking to the corner store to get the little egg out of the machine. You guys know what I'm talking about, those little pork eggs at the machine. We totally did that. My mom would make our baby dolls talk to us.
She would.
She would make them rap for us and sing songs to us. She would read us the stories. Our favorite story was the monster at the end of the book.
Yes.
And all the vocals, all the voices.
She did all the voices.
Every single
And when
voice.
we would ask our dad, we go to our dad's house and be like, Daddy, read us a story. Read us this one. It's our favorite. And he would do it. And we'd be like, no, that's not
You're not
right.
reading it right.
That's not right. You don't do it like mommy. That is not right. But everything that we did, she supported us. Every event we had at school,
Oh my
even
goodness.
as adults.
Even though I had 7 jobs.
She was there. Both our parents were there.
We're
They
there.
weren't married. Everybody thought our parents were
Oh
married.
my God. We were
Because they were
wonderful.
both
That's
everywhere.
right. Everywhere.
As adults now, when
That's
we
right.
do stuff, she is there. She is supportive. She's just done such an awesome job. I can only help to do as good of a job as my mom with my children. But when you are there for your children, when you explain stuff to your children, when you support your children, you show up for your children.
Happens.
That's what you need to do. Like parenting, you can't just be like a bystander. You have to be physically involved
That's right.
in making sure your kids get what they need in every aspect of life. You don't just take care of food, clothing, shelter. Some parents don't even do that. But even if you do that, your kids need more than that.
And please be honest. And when I say honest, we knew where babies came from at the age of 6.
Oh yeah.
Color diagrams. I'll never forget.
Books that graphically explained everything.
Graphically showed everything. I was like, oh, there's a uterus and the baby's in there. The baby's head down.
And you can see the baby, everything. It makes sense.
Oh.
And they understand. They don't freak out.
And
my husband
never forget.
he goes, why do you use those terms with Cameron, our son who's 8? And I go, what terms? He's like, penis, vagina. I said, they're anatomically correct terms.
You mean helping them be a genius?
What do you mean?
Right.
Because that's what they're called.
Now, but let me tell you, one time my daughters were very upset with me and were protesting when I wrote the first book.
Right.
So I said, I wrote this back in the early 90s. And it took me, I was working day and night because there was no computer to go Google and everything. So I'd be writing and working. And I think the computers had just come out. I had this huge.
Oh man, it was huge. I remember. Monitor.
The huge monitor.
Remember the paper that you had to physically tear
out and rip
Yeah.
off. So I'm on the monitor, I'm working, and they would just come in the room and they didn't say a word. They just came at me with their baby dolls and looked at me. They didn't say a word because they knew that I would say, sweetie, let me work. And so this time they just walked into the room with their baby dolls. They looked right in my eyes while they were watching me. They put one baby doll on this side of the monitor. They put the other baby doll on the other side of the monitor, and looked at me and said, don't forget you have children. 6 years old, maybe 5. I felt that big. Children are geniuses. They're geniuses.
They are. Children are geniuses.
Treat them as such.
All right. Oh, Daylene had made a comment earlier about the camera angle. We've been working on it.
Yeah.
We've been working on
We're
it.
just doing this instead of running out and protesting, which I really appreciate and respect. We thought we could do this. I'm not tech savvy. The fact that this is even happening with me is amazing.
It is.
So we're doing it. We do need to wrap up, though. Just want to make sure that we overstand that we are not using dark and black negatively anymore. We are not going to call children bright if they're intelligent. We're not going to use the word white as if it cleanses everything. White collar crime, little white lie. We're not going to do that anymore. Stop saying the word slave. Enslaved person. Stop calling the enslavers masters. They are masters. We don't have an immigrant problem.
They are
We
not
have a
masters.
racism problem. We have a miseducation system. We have an injustice system. We have unjustifiable genocide. Indians are from India. There is no democracy. This can help us get those wonderful ideals. Kill the root, you kill the problem.
And
I focus on
Daleen
the
says, great educational programs. You ladies made it very pleasant while you educate the masses. Love you.
Ah, love you
So
too.
we're dealing with three things here. Don't let anybody just say change. What are we changing? Eliminating racism. We're eliminating racism, eliminating genocide, eliminating white psychopathy. Those three things. Anybody's not talking about that is talking about cosmetic change.
But I'm sorry. You guys are being silly. I just had a silly thought. Like, if you're at one of these protests and they're like, what do you want? The end of racism and white psychopathy. And, like, haggle up. When do you want it? Immediately, preferably. I'm sorry. I'm so silly.
And we have fun fighting racism.
We do.
All the time.
Yeah.
Have to make it fun or it won't happen.
Or you'll be depressed.
This is just the beginning of a major transformation for this country. Kepara. Major transformation. This is going to be going on for years. Racism wasn't invented in one day.
No.
In 3 weeks. It took hundreds of years
To perfect.
Hundreds. And it's perfect now because it's repeated. Whatever, the more you repeat it, the more you perfect it. This is not going to go away in one day. It's going to take all of us working constantly all the time to eliminate racism, genocide, white psychopathy. Little dude, what are you doing, Karen? My grandson decided it's time to eat some cereal. What are you doing, dude?
He's going to take that whole thing upstairs. Like, are you taking all the lunch meat, son? What's happening? Okay.
All
All right, so that's it. We're going to go. We will see you guys tomorrow.
Last day
For day
tomorrow.
7.
Ooh,
Thank you
last-
for joining us, the YouTube page.
Oh,
Yes.
the YouTube page is
Okay,
Resolving Racism. So if you have friends who are like, I can't do any more social media, and I totally get it, because I'm usually not on. I'm only on now because the Holy Spirit was like, hey, get on Facebook and encourage people and help people actually do stuff that is productive and help people not feel discouraged. So that's why I've been on for the past 6
That's
days.
why she convented this.
That's why
this was
I
her
I
idea. She
convinced
called
her, yeah.
me, and here we are.
So, but if you know people who are not on social media or on Facebook specifically,
YouTube.
we do upload these videos every day to YouTube. The YouTube page is Resolving Racism. It's just Resolving Racism on YouTube. Search that. You'll find all the videos. So if you didn't see videos 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, or any variation or whatever of any of those, then you can go to YouTube and find those videos. And then the book is available for purchase on Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com.
And if your organization
Oh,
or
the book
your
is called,
job,
let me say what the book is called
Yes.
real quick. Recognizing and resolving
The
the
roots.
root
Of racism.
of racism. Recognizing and resolving the roots of racism. Please get a copy. Sit down and read it with your children. It's written so that anybody, any age
Can
look at
understand.
it. I'm not trying to be all academic and talk where no one can understand it. What good is that?
It's pointless.
That's insanity.
and if your organization or your job is now
Oh my
committed
gosh.
to,
Here she goes again.
Yeah, committed.
they're committed to
Making sure that Black Lives Matter.
And eliminate. No, we need to be
acknowledging,
committed
they use all the wrong terms, but if
No,
they're
the wrong
committed to
terms.
making things better
to by
for
eliminating
everybody,
racism.
then they can hire our wonderful
God.
mother to do their professional development. She keeps telling me not to say that, but look, they need the help. You guys know they need the help.
You know, y'all
So,
are in those
if
organizations.
your organization,
Get the book.
if your you need somebody to explain it to you. If your organization is trying to do that, hit one of us up.
Because she will tell you no.
Yeah, hit one of
And then
us
we'll
up
convince
so
her.
we can make sure that happens, so that we can all be better and we can all make this world a better place for everybody.
And listen, I want everybody clear. I'm rewriting the book. The book was written 30 years ago. I know so much more. And the world has changed so much.
Well,
We
the
have all
newer
this
version
new-
of the book.
Yeah, I'm
There's
writing a newer
one,
version.
but yeah, she's
the
writing
book
a
didn't
newer
have
one.
pictures. I'm trying
Mommy,
to-
she just proved my point, you guys. That's why you need mommy.
I'm
And not
rewriting
just the book.
That's why they need you.
And not just
and
the
not
book.
just the book, mommy. You just proved my point.
What?
Yeah, we'll
This-
explain it later. She said this is why they need
This
you
is why
and
they
not
need
just
you
the
and
book.
not just the book, because you're rewriting the book.
And you have more information now.
See, guys, she just proved me right.
Well, not only that, I realized that we need this for children. We need it for every age. So I have not only just a book, I'm also have been creating my curriculum that I use to teach children, turning it into games.
Oh, sorry.
So that every family can have it.
Thank you. Good point. Sherilyn Lawrence says, name your mom, please. I keep hearing mommy. Her name is Miss Kujichagulia. It is the second principle. Taiwo, come on.
It's the second principle of Kwanzaa, the second day of Kwanzaa, which means self-determination in Swahili. It is Miss Kujichagulia.
Yes.
It is my first last name because my last name is a combination between our mom and our father's last names, right? So her name is Miss Kujichagulia.
And let me tell you why they're not saying the first name, because I am so sick and tired of ageism in this country. I'm a senior. I'm an elder. And in this country that disrespects everybody, they say, oh, what's your first name? Mrs. How do you spell that? No, what's your first name? I says, that's too hard. You can call me ma'am. But we love to disrespect. And I know everybody over 50 knows exactly what I'm talking about. And that's why I don't even give people my first name, because I don't even give you the option to disrespect me. Okay, my first name, my daddy named me Lovin'. It's Greek. It's P as in Peter, Havia. And I was trying to hide. Didn't want people to know who it was. Favia.
It's on your book, though, Mommy.
Yeah, but if they get the book, it's Favia Kujichagulia. Okay? Mrs. Kujichagulia. If me and you grew up in the 50s and the 60s, yeah, call me Favia. If not, I'm Miss Kujichagulia. Or Granny. Everybody calls me Granny. Or Iyaibeji. Mother of twins in Yoruba. Iyaibeji.
All right.
All right.
Yeah,
that's good.
Look,
Thank you all.
Day 7 tomorrow.
Last day.
That's the last. It's not the last time you'll ever hear anything from us ever, but it's the last day of this 7 days series. Name it,
not really.
claim it, end it, racism. It's the last day of this series.
Yeah.
Yes. So
tomorrow we're gonna wrap it up, because in the back of all of this is why. That's what we're gonna say tomorrow. Why is it like this? We're gonna go over that tomorrow, and everybody have the big picture.
Are you trying to serenade the audience? Would you like to get on camera?
She's talking to her husband, and he is Steven over there.
I don't know if you guys heard him
He's
singing.
Steven. Okay, everybody, thank you so much.
Bye, you guys.
Love the world,
We'll
love
see you
yourselves, change your
tomorrow.
words, change the world.
Resolving Racism, YouTube.
Yes. Bye, guys.
Bye.